Welcome back. We will talk about smart companies, and we have two new guests, Vicky Bunyard. Let's talk about customer satisfaction in times of Corona. How do you keep your customers not only happy, but very happy?
Yeah, and I think the essential piece of that is to stay connected. And I think a lot of that is the previous conversation you were having. So everything that we're doing inside our companies, we need to be doing with our clients as well. We need to keep that customer intimacy. We need to keep listening to our customers, and we keep needing to make sure that we are strongly connected and understanding.
You have to put your microphone a little higher up on your cheek, because it's touching the collar of your blouse. Yeah, that's better. Thank you.
Yeah. So, and I think
it's falling.
Oh, again. Oh. Are we good? Yeah. 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 So I think this is an opportunity for us, actually, in quite an interesting way, to pull our clients into our ecosystems, because it's not that we are separately working. We're all in the same situation. We're all sitting at home. We're all inviting people into our homes in a way that we haven't before, and using technological solutions to make those connections. So I think there's a huge part of this, and again, coming back to your earlier conversation, which is about just remembering that we're all people and we're all in the same position, and how do we help you through this, and how do we help you do what you need to do in terms of your business, regardless of the ongoing situation.
Can you give an example for Red Hat?
For Red Hat?
No, this is IBM.
I'm IBM.
IBM, sorry. Yeah, IBM, sorry. Yeah.
But no, and I think this is, but I don't necessarily think it's particularly different for Red Hat or anybody else. And it's really about looking at how our customers' needs are evolving and understanding, okay, how do our technologies support what they need to do next, and how do we make those things fit in a way that they can manage the change that they need to go through, given the fact that they're not in their offices and they're not able to get together and they're not able to do their own businesses in the way that they have in the past. So how we deliver our technology has to change a little bit, and how we engage with them has to change a little bit. And I think that's true for all of us as technology companies. It's having a sensitivity to the fact that their world has changed, and how do we deliver our technology into their world in a way that they can consume it more easily and more effectively, I think.
Patrick George, also new at the table, Executive Vice President of iBasis. What about you guys? I mean, keeping customers happy. I mean, that's a challenge in this day and age, right? I mean, particularly because of Corona. Does it make your life easier, harder?
Oh, I guess it's to keep the customer happy. I mean, there are two parts. You know, we are in the international wholesale business, so we are providing telecom services to telecom operators and telecom service provider. So I mean, so the interaction on the customer-supplier relationship is about human interaction, and of course that we miss a lot, those type of physical meeting. We are a global company, so you don't do business in Africa the same way you do business in Florida, the same way you do business in Japan, and so that's really one of the key assets that we need to maintain. And depending on the different culture of people, some people, for example, doesn't open the camera, because they don't want you to see their home. As you said, we are entering their home for the first time. So it's very important to try to keep this dynamic. The big challenge, as you know, is we can still deliver all the formal information, the formal interaction works, but all the informal one, who are the one making the top quality of the relationship, is very difficult now in those days. So that's why you need to keep focusing and try to have this, to create those type of informal moments, even in a formal call. That's, I guess, a big challenge.
Yeah. We got quite a few remarks and questions. Actually, a remark from Jan Graag. He said, the new normal is a phrase used by people who cannot yet escape the old normal way of thinking. You agree, Remco?
I definitely
right,
agree
right?
to that.
I mean,
I have nothing to add.
You can hardly disagree.
Yeah. It's a bit philosophical.
But I guess it's all the transformation are always the same. You try to do what you used to do before with the new technology.
You get the
I guess that's what we did for the first wave, as you mentioned, second wave. And now, how can we invent new way of working, relying on this technology, you know? And that's, I guess, the key transformation. I guess it happens in all the different technological revolution that we had in the past. But here it's even more because it's touching human being, yourself, you know, and your rhythm of working. You know, as a joke, I was surprised one day that I had to run to restroom between two video calls. To make it short. Why? In the office, you will never do that, you know? And I guess that's something you need to keep.
Another question by Eric Klein. He says, how are people dealing with compliance issues of work from home?
Well, that's what I touched on earlier, right? It's an issue. And in the old days, if you had
confidentiality, all kinds of stuff.
In the old days, you had a company with 400 people and 3 offices. You had to manage 3 offices. And the home workers, well, VPN and nothing exciting. Nowadays, you have 403 offices to manage, all with the same challenge. And it's great that the kids, as Sebastian said, that his kid is in the board meeting. Well, at 11, that may be fine. When the kid is 16 and he's in the board meeting, I'm sure we're starting to see some issues at some point. And data is everywhere, and we need to take that part into account as well. But I like what Patrick said about the connection. I mean, it's really, we're going back to that part, right? It's about connection. It's funny because telco has been about connection for 130 or 40 years, whatever. And it's always been very basic. And now the platforms are about connection and the quality of the tools is about the connection. But we go back to the people. I talked to somebody, I asked him the question, how's it going? I mean, a few weeks ago, remotely, because that's what you do, right? How is Corona on your side of the world? He said, well, it's going well, we're in lockdown, but we're 80% effective. Which is a shame. We should be 120% effective instead of 80. So we're in this current normal, we're surviving. And now I think the big challenge, and we have the opportunity, we see the technology looming, right? We see how do we go to 100%, 120% for everybody and really thrive?
I have an interesting question, or actually a remark by, it sounds like a stubborn guy, Björn Heisterkamp.
He's stubborn, I know him, yeah.
Shall we all stop the nonsense? First sentence, shall we all stop the nonsense? And he goes on, once there is enough herd immunity and vaccination, there is no more COVID issue. Shall we go back to the office as much as we deem as healthy? Shall we go to a model that balances productivity and creativity? Stop the nonsense. Remco, stop the nonsense. Come on.
Well, I like the way he's phrasing it. But so we've done some research, and actually new research came out yesterday, and it said that 80% of companies have flexible work from home policies now. 70% of the managers expect their employees of using that policy. So that means that, well, we can stop the nonsense and open up the offices again. People do not want to go to the office 5 days a week. So we can never stop this anymore because people now think that they have the right to work from home, and employees give them that right as well. So it will never be the same again.
There are benefits. I try to balance it.
You know, I'm always optimistic, and I guess the duration of the crisis is can be viewed as something positive. Because on this time, we had a different phase. At the beginning, we were just stuck home, and then what you do, and then you realize, oh God, I don't have to travel anymore, I don't have the traffic jam anymore. And then you begin now to feel the loss of this human interaction. And so you say, well, yes, but I would like to have those 2 days of traffic jam again to see my colleagues and to begin to interact. So I guess the fact that it was not just 2 weeks, now we got a lot of lessons learned about the pros and cons. And I guess most of the people I discuss with realize that now having a balance between being present at the office and being remote and avoiding unnecessary travel is important.
You agree, Vicky, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think coming back to the comment about the new normal and you know, is that people are reluctant to change, but I think you see a real body of people who not only are not reluctant to change, but are embracing the change and are really finding that it's helping them to balance, you know, balance family life, balance work, balance everything that they need to get done. And certainly for me, yeah, there are times where I want to be in the office and I want to whiteboard and I want to have an argument and I want to discuss and brainstorm. But there are times where I need to sit there and I need to concentrate and I need to work. And that is easier from home. So I think this I don't want to go back to old normal. I'm fine, guys, really.
But you definitely want to go a bit
But I
back
do want to go
online.
back to the office.
Because
Yeah.
if we choose the space we perform best in, for the type of work we want to do, that'll make us more productive.
Exactly. Yeah.
And if we can choose that ourselves without management expecting us to be present, then we start to develop these new habits, and hopefully somehow it comes. I'm also optimistic. We're going to something better.
I got another one, remark by Nelleke Veldhuizen. Interesting, she says, let's not judge old, new, normal. Be honest, she says. We are all struggling to find a balance and mix that works for us, for our people and for our kids. She's right. And then interesting question, interesting for me after working in television for 35 years. To what extent are we ready to be camera persons? How do we impose ourselves on others? After 1 year, are we ready to do it? Not everybody may be very comfortable being in front of a camera, isn't it? Is that an issue at all?
Well,
I think it's an issue.
You get used to it, don't you?
Well, no, I think it's an issue. I think people are different, right? Some people are happy and other people are shy or don't. And I think that's exactly the issue, right? Leave nobody behind. And I'm thinking we're also talking here about we're all people that are used to high tech, right? And we do this and we travel. There's also a large part of the world where it's not like that, right? My father did a Zoom call for the first time a couple of weeks ago. He's 76, 8. Sorry, Dad.
Old.
But he does it, right? And he goes online and he does it. He finds the button. He's really happy. So
you have a good time?
And he had a good time. I don't know what he did. He's watching now. But there are other people that don't have that luxury. I mean, kids in certain families or certain parts of the world are really left behind. So we get this K-shaped recovery pattern, right? There's a lot of talk about that. It's not going back to the way it was. It's also not going worse or bad, but it's good for some people, it's bad for other people, and we have a responsibility and a challenge there to make it work for everybody somehow. As Nelleke said, people are different.
So
we need to embrace that.
Regarding the question about being, are we camera shy or are we ready to put on the camera? What's very fun to see is that Netherlands and Norway lead the world when it comes to putting on your video in meetings. So in 62% of all meetings, we put on our video, the Dutch people and Norwegian people. So we do that because nothing beats face-to-face contact. It does bring us a bit closer together. It makes you feel more connected. You're able to read.
I would expect the Italians and Spaniards in front of a camera and show up. Belgian people do.
Belgium, you know,
in front of a
a mix between Germanic people and Latin people, so which we behave differently. You know, some people are speaking with the N, guess where I'm coming from, but some other are more structured. And I guess, again, it depends a lot of people and also about the human being. Some people doesn't want to be undressed or, I mean, the haircut of Rob, I always joke about that, but it's always
Don't get him started.
So,
but about a little basic question for you, Patrick. I mean, being a telco, how do you, in this day and age with all the change, how do you grow your business, stay relevant? I mean, that's I guess the biggest challenge for a company like yours, right?
I guess we are serving telecom professionals, telecom services. So I guess we need to help them to find the difficult spot for them, which are sweet spot for us. Let them focus on developing their 5G, on developing their fiber to home, and then we can complement their offer. We can make their life easier. It can be from traditional telco, from the CPaaS provider. And typically today we work to help Microsoft Teams to be connected in the world on the traditional phone number-based communication, where we work with some partner to power that. So that's really a way that we add our layer, our brick, into a fantastic solution, Microsoft Teams, to make it even more easy to use and to have even more usage to do that. So that's typically one of the approach. So really try to find the pain point of your customer, of the stakeholder, and then from there, bringing where you are good at, and then to, again, help each of us to focus on what is our core business and then to make sure we can deliver the total service to our customer.
What about IBM? I've always admired IBM for one simple reason. This is a company that has been able to reinvent itself over the years, right? I mean, from making PCs to what it is now. What's the next phase for IBM with all the changes that we're discussing here? I mean, that must be, you know, a big thing for you guys.
Yeah, and I mean, it is, and I mean, and exactly to your point, we have continuously evolved and continuously looked at where we are.
And successfully. I mean, there are a lot of companies who don't succeed in making that change.
And I think there's a big piece in here which is around fundamentally the learning culture, actually. And again, back to your earlier conversation, because there's a piece of this which is just about, as an organization, understanding that you have to continually evolve, because if you don't, you die. I mean, that's it. It's as simple as that. But I think from our perspective, you know, everything that's happening with data and AI right now, it's increasingly important. It's increasingly at the center of everything. So that for us is a huge piece of where we're going. And I mean, the whole hybrid cloud story and these big landscapes of technology that support you in doing the kinds of things that our clients want to be able to do, those dimensions are so critical and so critical to this ongoing evolution of all of us and what we're all trying to do. So those are a huge focus for us at the moment. But obviously in the back of that, you know, we still do a huge amount of research and development, and that's part of what helps us to continue on this evolving journey that we're on.
And same question for Microsoft. This is also a company that has been reinventing itself, extremely successful now with Teams, for example. What's next? I mean, what's a business opportunity that might pop up and be the next Teams or the next Windows or the next, you know, data storage facility? You know?
I think it'll be ensuring we help people to stay durably productive, right? To coach them in healthy work habits, to democratize knowledge, to make knowledge transparent for them in the company, or for example, to be a place where all company information can be found. So I think it's an evolution of this Microsoft Teams platform to include these topics I just mentioned.
I find final question. That's final question for you guys in this round. Laurens van Gunst, interesting question about the role of the office in the future. He says, Laurens, will the office be a clubhouse or a place of work? Rob?
Not only that.
I think it's funny because the role of office and home are turning around, right? It used to be that you would go home to have a quiet day of work to
enjoy yourself, hopefully.
Well, maybe no, but get something done, and that would be the exception. I think now we're going to a time where you go to the office to meet with your colleagues, and it will not only be the water cooler talks, but we will have team building practices. We will have a different kind of work environment, which is more playful, more fun, and more focusing on that, making that connection and doing the things that you cannot do at home. Totally turn around.
Yeah, for example, getting together with colleagues and do some deep problem solving, where you need to look each other in the eyes, write on a whiteboard.
The brainstorming.
I mean, these online meeting tools these days are great, but this can only be truly be done very well in a physical environment.
I agree.
So we'll pick the office for those kind of types of work. For the other types of work, we're free to use the home office.
I would say it's the clubhouse and the training room. At the same time.
Okay.
So you socialize, but also you do the hard stuff and do that. And don't forget, because I'm the representative of the French-speaking community, to have the long, extensive lunch with your colleague. Very important.
You guys must be, longing for lunch, right? With good petit blanc, right?
That's terrible for us.
Yeah. And terrible for the restaurant business, for that matter, but that's another story. Vicky, clubhouse or a place of work?
Oh, I think it's both, isn't it? And I think to your point, because to me it starts to be, and I mean, I did this a few weeks ago, where it's the pressure cooker, where you get everybody together, you brainstorm over the idea, you draw on the walls, and you have the arguments, and then you go away and you can do the, okay, now remotely I can do the thinking and I can put together actually what I need to put together. But now I've got the ideas. So
And I think some things need to be, you want people together. I mean, look at this conversation we're having here. It would not have been the same if it was a Teams or a Zoom or whatever call with the 5 little blocks. We now have, there's these, I mean, you know this is nobody else, right? It's, you have the energy, you can manage a table, you can have a conversation instead of 5 people talking to the screen all the time. It's talking to a screen instead of talking to people.
Final remark?
Yes, I guess please don't forget that you need all the component, all the technical component. You know, you need a good internet connection. You need to have a good camera. You have a good Microsoft Team, which is stable, to then allow to do the business on it and the discussion on that. And I guess we are coming from countries where internet connection are quite good, but it's not always the case everywhere. And that's desperate. When you are home and you cannot have a good quality, I mean, the whole communication is totally armed. So that's important to keep.
All right. That's it for this segment. Thank you very much. Also, thank you for all the people at home who send us questions and remarks. Keep them coming. We have a lot to come.